ladies and gentlemen, you should now be hearing our voices. Hopefully. And it may sound, admittedly...
Bad.
Well, I was going to say it may sound a little different. And I'm going to tell you one thing. It may look a little different as we go live to video cam right now. Hi, everyone. So the first thing you're going to notice is... There we go. Is that we are, for one, probably not quite as clear. This is a different camera. This is, in fact, the camera and microphone from the MacBook Pro, which is wild that they continue to make really great hardware and decide to put 720p cameras in the hardware, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. We are also in bed, which might be kind of strange, but the reason for that is it was a very late night last night. It was a very late night, so we've more or less gotten up specifically for the purpose of doing breakfast stream. Anyone who knows me knows that schedules are important, and I will follow them religiously till the day I die. It's one of the reasons why I was so scared to begin streaming, because I was like, if I start this, you know that I'm going to stick to it forever. And Mal's like, I know. Yeah. I was like, it doesn't matter if there's, like, I don't know, a hurricane. And she's like, okay. And then, sure enough, a hurricane, evacuations, late nights.
Like, what is this, fourth breakfast stream?
Yeah, the fourth one. We're streaming on a different camera in someone else's home. So, you guys might know just based on this. And if you do, that's wild to me. But we are in the home of the incredibly generous and loving Mr. Chuggaaconroy. This is very amazing of him to offer up his home to not only Mallory, myself, Sagan, and Kepler, but also my parents and Rocco. All 7 of us are in Emil's home. Now, if you are hoping to see Emil on this video, do not think that's going to happen. It's a little early, because, again, we all went to bed pretty late, and Emil is still asleep, I'm sure. My parents are downstairs, and they're still asleep, I'm sure. Everyone was really wiped. But I set my alarm, and I said, I'm going to wake up and make sure that I at least do
Which means
the stream.
I'm going to wake up and be here.
Yeah, funny thing about sharing a bed and doing a bed stream is that you don't really have a choice.
I mean,
you could try and sleep. I don't think it'd do too well. But yeah, this was important to me to make sure that I, stuck to my schedule, but then also gave people an update, because we have been fairly indecisive on the vlogs, if you've been watching the vlogs recently. And, we want to make sure that people know what's up, because it's, this is very different for us. I think the most recent vlog that came out was where we're, packing up video games and stuff. And it's a terribly depressing thing to watch, no matter how I try and spin it. And we're just glad that we've done the most preparation that we can, and we are certainly glad to have, hands down, one of the most amazing friends on Earth, who says, yeah, come here. And I'm like, are you sure there's a lot of us? No, come here. I said, okay. We will. We did. And we got in really, really late. But we're here. We have hurricane-proofed, what we could. I brought. We brought every thing that we don't want to replace. I mean, a few things like for sentimental value, obviously, but then also like all of our computers, all of our cameras, all of our everything. You know, we didn't really have a choice. You know, it's one of those things that if you leave it there, is there a chance something could happen? I mean, there is. You know, you may not see it again, so we had to make the decision to bring everything. That means that I have got not only my MacBook, but I also have my PC. Mal has her iMac. We have the GH4 that we shoot Mix with. Like, we have, you know, so much stuff. And you know, the hardest thing by far is the video game collection, you know, because there's so much of it. And we brought what we could fit in the car, you know, like that's, you have to have room for the cats, you know, you have to have room for the things that really, really matter. So I did what I could, and I made sure that all the games that stayed back were as secure and as waterproofed and stuff as I could manage. And now we're here. And I get to tell you, driving here at night,
yeah,
because we left late, it was, you know, I mean, it was really hard for my parents, because my parents were planning on staying, and I mean, we were kind of all talking together about what we were going to do, and you know, it was one of those, someone said, I hear air. It's probably the MacBook. It's probably a MacBook because it's on the bed comforter, so it's probably overheating and dying. You know, it was a difficult situation because, like, we were all trying to figure out together what to do, and this storm has been wildly unpredictable, and it's been very hard for the meteorologists to accurately track. And they've been doing their best, but every like 6 hours, like, something new was happening. And as it got closer and closer, and we knew that we needed to make a decision, finally, with them telling us that it was going to potentially stall over us, which would be 100 mile per hour winds, which is not the worst thing, but the fact that it would stall over us and it would be 100 miles per hour winds for like 24 to 36 hours straight, that's insane. Those are only Cat 2 winds, but like if it's beating your house for that long, and the amount of rain that it can produce by stalling,
we're supposed to get over 20 inches,
like
2 feet of rain.
Those are the conditions that, even though it's hitting upwards, you know, North Carolina as a Cat 4, it's coming back down as a Cat 2. If it sticks on you as a Cat 2 for that long, that's when it starts to get scary.
It's currently actually downgraded.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, since we left, yesterday morning when we left, the model's been updated like 3 times,
yeah.
And it's changed, and it's wildly different every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have no idea what is going on. So Firebird just asked, what's the specific information you were waiting on? I mean,
the 11 a.m. forecast yesterday.
The 11 a.m. forecast, because they do it every 6 hours. And at 11 a.m., when we saw that was when we said, you know, that we should go, because we just weren't willing to let that thing stall on us. And it was the day before we had been talking to our neighbors, and our neighbors had said, you know, your roof doesn't look good. I'm like, Mal and I don't know anything about roofs. We can't identify that. And we said, it doesn't? And they said, no. And a few of our neighbors said that. One of our neighbors said that they did roofing, like,
yesterday,
in the summer.
I was out taking stuff out of the car we didn't need, and she came over and she said, you know, I do roofs in the summer, and she said, I've been here 20 years, and I've seen that house get built. It's the same roof. She said, it does not look good. I'm worried for you guys.
And, like, you know, hearing that kind of stuff, like, your heart sinks, because, like, we don't know anything about the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, so apparently we still have the original roof from 20 years ago, and some of our neighbors who are more knowledgeable in the subject aren't real thrilled with it. So when you hear those sorts of things, like, that's scary. And, you know, prolonged winds, prolonged rain, you start to get worried about stuff, and that's why we decided to leave. And the 11 a.m. forecast for my parents was also a little frightening, because, I mean, my parents, I mean, you guys, I'm sure I've seen in the vlog, my parents live in a manufactured home. Like, it's not the sturdiest thing in the world. It's, you know, it's not a trailer, but it's not a stick-built house. You know, it's
slab.
Yeah, it's kind of a place in between, and, you know, again, same scenario, 100 mile per hour winds for, you know, 24 to 36 hours straight. Like, that's crazy. And I mean, to be frank, my mom got scared, and up to that point she had been really confident because she just got a new roof, and, you know, she got very scared about that and said, you know, the roof isn't going to matter if winds for that long tear the house apart. And I'm like, Emil offered for you to come to Atlanta, you know, and this is maybe your chance to do that. So you know, it was hard to talk my parents into that. My parents are very much the type of people that do not want to impose. And, like, make no mistake, 7 people, well, 4 people and 3 cats, like, dropping in on you for a week, like, we are absolutely, without a doubt, disrupting Emil's life. But he is extremely sincere and an amazing, dear God, an amazing person to encourage us to come and stay and, you know, give us a place to go. So yeah, it was good. So we got here late last night, and now we're here. Now the thing is, the model has continued to change, and that scenario that made us leave is no longer even the scenario now.
Yeah.
So, like, as it stands, like, I feel the computer keeps, like, getting and then losing power. I don't know how good the surge protector we're using is, but that's alright. What was I saying?
The models changed already.
Yeah, so, like, the models have changed multiple times since we left yesterday. So, like, the scary thing that made us leave isn't even, like, on the table at the moment, but it's still going to be not good. And also, we're here. You know, it's not like we're going to be like, oh, it's fine, we'll drive back.
Yeah, the storm's supposed to get, like, we're supposed to start getting winds at, like, 2 p.m. at home.
Yeah, so the winds are going to start tonight, or today, rather, and then the storm, in air quotes, like the eye, will be there tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning or something.
I don't remember.
Depending on what the model does. Again, we've seen multiple meteorologists say that this has been, like, the most unpredictable storm they've ever seen. So it makes a lot of sense in a way that it's been very difficult for them to track. Anyway, I'm sorry. I know I've been rambling for half of this stream, but I'll turn my attention over to the chat. There's a lot of people here. Let's see. It's already scrolled by, but I saw something about the walkie-talkies. We used my parents and I. They followed behind us in their vehicle, and when we were originally planning on staying, we had walkie-talkies that we were going to use to communicate throughout the storm, because a lot of times in these storms you end up losing cellular service, and then even, you know, me and my parents being in the same neighborhood, like, we can't talk. So we had charged up the walkie-talkies from my youth. I mean, they were 15 years old, but they still worked, and we were going to use those to communicate. And yesterday when we left, my dad said, we should take the walkie-talkies. And I was like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Let's do that. And so we had a walkie-talkie in our car, and they had one in their car, and we talked, you know, the whole way, basically. You know, like, letting them know, like, okay, we're going to take this exit coming up, or, you know, how you guys doing?
You need to stop.
You need to stop. And my dad, my dad loves the walkie-talkie, and he just talks like a trucker. So he's like, 10-4, good buddy, we got Smokies coming up here on the right, you know, over. And, like, so I'm just playing along. So we try to keep everyone's spirits up, because, I mean, I'm sure you can imagine, like, it was an emotional day. Like, it's been an emotional few days, but yesterday specifically, suddenly seeing the information and deciding to leave, like, it was a very emotional day for everyone. Specifically, I think for you,
Yeah.
and then my mom. That's not a fun thing. You never want to be put in that position where you have to pack stuff up and look around and be like, there's a chance this won't be here. Like, that's terrible, and I know that for days, we've had people telling us, like, evacuate, you got to get out of there, and it really is not that easy. People are like,
No.
there was a mandatory evacuation, you gotta go, and it's like, you are so far disconnected from the thing that it's not fair or even right to stand in wherever you are in the country and point at us and say, you guys got to get, it's because it's not an easy decision to make. Making the decision to evacuate is very hard, because not only are you saying goodbye to your stuff in your house knowing that you are not going to be able to come back for a while, you also do not know what the situation is when you get back, and that's hard. And the thing is, people don't understand, and I've explained it time and time again, but like, the mandatory evacuations, like, that's not,
It's called that, but it's not like a law. They don't force you at gunpoint out. We're not in any of those zones.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Is like, people just see the governor issued a mandatory evacuation. They don't, and that's all they hear, and they see like the CNN thing, and then that's all they know, and they get on Twitter and they become irate because we haven't left. And it's like, the coast is divided into zones. The zones evacuate because that's where the actual danger is. Mal and I do not live in a zone. We are far enough inland that mandatory evacuations do not apply to us. We are safe enough inland that that's not a concern. So it's one of those things, like, we've tried to explain that. We've done our best, but like, we still get people mad or whatever, and it's like, just trust us, man. I understand that people have followed our lives for a long time. They love us, and I appreciate that. I do. But I also, I want people to trust us to some degree and just say, hey, you guys do your thing. I don't know what the heck. I've never had this issue, so it has to be the surge protector.
Maybe move it to a different outlet in the protector?
I don't know. I'm really confused. Maybe there's not enough power. I don't know.
I mean, my phone's not plugged
Well,
in.
you know what I think it is?
Huh.
The surge protector's on the same outlet as the refrigerator. Maybe the refrigerator draws a ton of power, and I mean, right now, obviously, the laptop is trying to draw a ton of power too. I don't know. Laptop, you only got to survive 10 minutes, so I just don't know if it could run the processor and stuff full speed at that. Anyway, so let's jump back over to chat. Someone asked if Dan and Lindsay are okay. So this is if you think our lives have been interesting, their lives have been very interesting. So quick, thank you, Thomas. Thomas said we made the right decision. We did.
And Thomas's wife is from Florida.
Yeah, we made the right decision. But someone was asking about Dan and Lindsay, and again, their situation is wild too. Lindsay had a pre-planned vacation for months to go to Orlando with her sister. We've talked about that on the vlog.
I think so.
Maybe. Lindsay has a sister. Oh, is it just not in all the way?
Maybe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just didn't have the thing plugged in all the way. Whatever. I'm an idiot. So Lindsay had this trip planned to go to Florida, and as her trip approached, there was a storm out there, but like, that's all we knew.
It was maybe coming this way.
Yeah, it was like maybe coming this way, and
it could go to Virginia.
And it wasn't even a thing that we really knew about. So she she even asked us, I think, like, should I stay or should I go? And I was like, we don't know what the storm is. You've had this vacation planned. You're not going to be able to get the money back for it or whatever. I said, even if it is a storm, think of all the places you'd rather be. You know, do you want to be at home and with no power for days? Is it, or would you rather be at Disney World? You know. So we encouraged her to go, and then she left, and then we found out, oh hey, look at this! It's a Category 4 hurricane.
But Lindsay is really prepared for things.
Yeah.
There's a word, but I'm really tired. So she packed a bag and her work computer and said, Dan, if you evacuate, I need these things.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was freaking out a little bit, admittedly, because, you know, she went to Disney World, and if you guys have been watching the vlogs, you'll know that recently Lindsay got a dog. And so the dog was with Dan, and then suddenly we're in a position where we need to evacuate. So, you know, I know Lindsay felt really bad because she went on this trip, but, like, it's not her fault. You know, it's just one of the things that happened. But Dan evacuated to Florida, back to Jacksonville, where he's from, with Leia, the dog. And what's funny is that Lindsay is down there, right? Mm-hmm. So then what happened...
Lindsay's supposed to come home tomorrow.
Lindsay was supposed to come home, which obviously is not going to happen because there's this hurricane. So she can't come home. She's down in Florida. So what they've decided to do... And I almost wish they were vlogging this so you guys could see, you know, their perspective of all this. Dan is going to just pick up Lindsay. So Lindsay's going to cancel her flight back home.
She can get her money back.
And apparently they're going to give her money back. So Dan and Lindsay and Leia then are going to drive to Birmingham to spend time with Alex and Haley to wait out the storm. So, like, there's this other, like, facet of this story, you know, with all of your favorite Stephen and Friends folks that is happening. And I almost wish they were vlogging their side of things.
Dan has his phone. Just message him.
I might ask Dan to record some footage of just their stuff so I can include some of that, because that's wild, you know. So then Alex and Haley and Laika and Leia and Lindsay and Dan will all be spending a little time together this weekend too. So, like, yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, it's
been really crazy. Like, if you think our stuff has been crazy, their stuff's been crazy too. So and they live even further inland.
Yeah.
So they, I think, are going to be okay. There's still a lot of water that's going to come down. You know, there's going to be a lot of rain.
Trees come down.
Yeah, but we're, you know, everyone's keeping their fingers crossed. I'm still riding on the high from preparing everything and then getting in the car and driving at night and making sure my parents are okay, and
because it was late for them.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, like, the journey here, Mal and I don't particularly feel like it's a long ride.
We've done it a few times.
We've done it multiple times, and we've done huge road trips, and, like, getting in the car and driving for a long time is like nothing. It's like, oh yeah, to get in the car. But for my parents, like, they don't. I hate to be like, they don't go anywhere, but, like, they don't really go.
They'll go up to Wilmington, which is an hour, or Charleston, which is 2, but that's kind of it.
Yeah. So you know, there was a long trip for them at night when they were already tired. So, like, I was, you know, we stopped multiple times to stretch and then, like, to get coffee, and I felt like I was, like, the leader of a
caravan out west.
Yeah, you know, like, it was wild. But evacuating was super easy. I hate to say, you know, because we waited until the last minute, it was easy, but it was. And if I had to evacuate again, I would absolutely wait until the last minute, because you know, you see these images of people, like, waiting on the interstate in a crawl, you know, and that's real. That's a real thing that happens. But because we left so late,
we also live on the coast where everyone can just head in with multiple different evacuation routes. Like, on Florida, the peninsula, everyone has to go out of the one peninsula. Yeah. It's a lot of people that have to leave. So.
Yeah. But because we left Wednesday, and because we left later in the day, there was zero traffic. No traffic whatsoever. We just got in the car and drove all the way here. So that was really great. You know, like, again, I hate to say...
the roads were empty.
Yeah, I hate to say I would wait until the last minute to evacuate again, but I absolutely would. If I'm put into a position, God forbid it's later this year, please, I don't want to have to do this again.
It's also really cool because you can go on the South Carolina DOT website, and they have all the traffic cams, and you can just go back and forth. And I was doing that a few times before we decided to see, like, well, how bad is the traffic? And I would go look on our route here and look, and it was empty pretty much every time I looked.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's wild. And, like, the thing is, one of the things I was telling Mao, we'd stop at the rest area, and I'd quickly look through Twitter or whatever, and I was like, you know what sucks, Mao? And she's like, what's that? I said, today was the Apple event. She goes, what? I said, today was the Apple event. I always watch those and, like, report on them, and I was like, now, don't get me wrong, there was something a little more important we had to do today. I was like, but I'm still a little bitter. And then, I saw that. I haven't actually seen everything about the Apple event yet, but
There's a question I want to answer.
I don't know if I'm gonna be reporting on that. Anyway,
someone's wondering about our friends.
Yeah.
I also want to include neighbors on that.
Sure.
Some of our neighbors are staying. Some people across the street. We exchanged phone numbers. The people next to us, pretty much all the way down on our right side, the new people and then down, they all left. Guy across the street said, like, the next 4 houses did. Guy in the corner on our other side left.
Yeah.
Boarded up.
We had a lot of people leave, but then, a fair bit stay.
Yeah.
So, and the ones that stayed, it's useful because, after the storm passes, we can talk to them and say, hey, how's our place? So we can get updates. Although I don't know
if they'll have cell service.
I mean, that, and then also part of me wonders, there's the Christmas. I'm going to skip the Christmas music. Let's do something else. But then, part of me wonders, like, do I even want to know?
I don't know.
Like, if it's bad, do I want to be filled with anxiety knowing I can't get back? I don't know. It's like the, like, if you could get your fortune told and learn when you're going to die, would you want to know? Like, probably not.
I mean, if we know, what can we do?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't know. I know I'm going back. I just need to know from the neighbors, how bad's the neighborhood, how bad's the roads, can we get home? Can we? Okay, so.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to go ahead.
Our friends. We never answered that part. Just the neighbors.
Okay. We're getting close to 9:30, yeah. So I was gonna run the Patreon roll because I got this all set up. God bless Game Show for not being a steaming pile of hot garbage, because OBS is. So I'm gonna run the Patreon ticker. Thank you to all of our Patreon producers. Their names are scrolling along the bottom of the screen. If you want to learn more, Nightbot's probably doing a thing, or patreon.com/StephenGeorge, patreon.com/Malmix. These are the ones for the Stephen George account. At some point, I'm going to try and figure out how to get Mouse on here, too. Her stuff's set up completely different. Like, she doesn't have a video file. Hers is done, like, within her videos, so I got to make that work. So it might be a few more streams, but I'll get there. Anyway, Mao, you wanted to talk about
our friends.
Yeah.
The people that live in the evacuation zones, like Justin and Laura, they left. I mean, they went a little inland.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't
leave the county.
They didn't really go that far, but I mean, again, that just goes to show about the evac zones. Like, they are a very specific subset of the coast. So remember that. Mal and I do not live in an evac zone. I
mean, even though we're 5 miles from the beach, like, direct, like, we're not in a zone.
Yeah, and the thing is, that makes a big difference. So one of the most dangerous parts of the storm is storm surge. If you live close to the coast, and they were saying, like, in our area, like 9 to 12 feet of storm surge.
So, like, imagine standing on the beach and being 12 feet underwater.
Yeah, it's basically that, and it'll put your home underwater immediately. But that storm surge is coming from the ocean, and that means it's only going to affect the most beginning parts of the coast. And that's why, when you're 5 miles inland, that doesn't affect you. It would have to be a hurricane of biblical proportions to get that far inland. So that's why we're not in an evac zone. Anyway, you wanted to talk about the friends.
let's see. Nikki evacuated with the baby.
Yeah.
I think they just got a flight and they were like, oh, let's take it. So they went to Orlando.
Yeah. It's a great place to go during a hurricane, unless it's, of course,
Orlando.
Yeah, in Orlando.
Austin stayed with his family because they tend to always stay.
Yeah. And I mean, also the location of your place matters, but also the structure. And like his parents' house is very well built, like brick built house. So you're gonna have a little better luck in one of those than like a manufactured home or something.
Yeah. I think most of Lunch Bunch stayed.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean the thing to remember is even though we're all from the same area, everyone lives in different parts. Some people live closer to the beach, some people live further away, and
some people live closer to North Carolina.
Yeah, and some people live in different style of homes and more defensive homes. So you got to keep all these things in mind. It's not a blanket thing of you live in South Carolina, that is dangerous, leave. So try and keep that in mind. And I know that's difficult because if you're not connected to the situation, it's bullet points on CNN, and that's scary. But we got it under control. I do not regret leaving, and I think it's going to take me another day to come down from the adrenaline
after the storm is like gone through.
Yeah. It's been a little nuts. And I know we're already at time, but a few other quick questions. Someone had asked about the kitties. The kitties are safe. Both Sagan and Kepler are here, and Rocco are here. And what we've done is, Emil's got a pretty big place. Having them freely explore the house would not be great for them and their anxiety. So we have put them in bathrooms, which probably sounds awful, but I promise you it's the best thing for them. They need a small place that they can know is theirs.
That they know is safe.
Mm-hmm. And that they can learn quickly, and then that's that. They don't need to be wandering Emil's home and
running into Kirby unexpectedly, Pippi, or...
So,
Meixsell's actually... All of her pets are here right now.
That's another thing. Yeah, Meixsell is actually not here. She's on vacation with her family.
So all the pets came here.
So Emil was pet sitting. So there's already a ton of pets, and they're in cages downstairs. They're in their pens.
There's a parrotlet and a ferret. Yeah,
so that's another reason not to have. Like, you wouldn't want Kepler trying to figure out how to open a cage and eat a bird. So that's another quick explanation. Rocco is in one of the bathrooms by himself because he and our cats they ain't buddies. So they're in a bathroom by themselves, and then another bathroom, Sagan and Kepler are by themselves. So I've checked in on them, and they're doing okay, but we're not going to give them access to the house on this trip. So it might be a bit of a boring vacation for them, but we need them to be able to calm down because one thing to remember, they've never traveled. They've never ever traveled.
Which is like only a couple miles.
Yeah. So they have never been in a car for that long, and they didn't know what was going on. They just saw us packing up for 2 days, and they're
already, when we pack our suitcase for a trip, they get depressed.
They get anxiety.
So when we were packing up so much stuff, they were not good.
They were not in good shape, and then we put them in the carriers, put them in the car. They've never been in the car that long, and they were in the car for a long time. And I was really impressed how well they did.
Yeah.
They were quiet. For a while, we were wondering if Sagan was even okay, because he was just silent.
And we couldn't... We had plenty of room. We had enough room to open their doors, to let them out, to go to the bathroom if we were going to try that.
Yeah.
So they were fine. It was just we couldn't see Sagan because he was packed so far back.
Yeah. So... kitties are okay, and my hope is that they'll calm down. Sagan in particular didn't eat a whole lot yesterday. I don't think Rocco did either. Kepler did.
Kepler ate everyone's food.
Yeah, Kepler was willing to eat all the food. He was super excited. But we're taking care of them, and everything's gonna be okay. It's been a very emotional. It's been an emotional week, but the last 2 days specifically. been wild, you guys. It really has. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. We went a little long today, but I think given the circumstances that was a reasonable thing to do. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I saw the turnout was crazy. There's apparently over 550 of you here. Pretty good for our 4th stream. That's apparently the secret is to lower the quality. If we just use the,
sure that's
I think
the
that's
reason.
it. Not coincidental at all. We'll just lower the quality until we're trying to shoot this on a toaster, and then we'll be ahead of all of the Fortnite streams. That's what the hope is. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna try and get vlogs out as soon as I can. I have all my equipment here, so I should be able to produce stuff. And I will tell you, keep an eye on Twitter, because we're all kind of in this evacuee status where we're just chilling here. There is a chance I may do some impromptu streams. I'm still kind of feeling anxious, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Emil has like a Super NES Classic. I might just borrow that and like do a stream and just like play Donkey Kong Country and chill.
That sounds great.
That's like a thing that just would help me calm down. So keep an eye on Twitter, and I'll probably announce that maybe here over the weekend. So that would be good for me, and you guys might like that too. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks for the support.
And thank you for the support. Thank you for understanding. Keep an eye on
Twitter.
Keep an eye on Twitter for any potential impromptu streams, and certainly keep an eye on StephenVlog. I will tell you that the other videos for Stephen Plays might be a little late today, and the video for StephenVlog could be late. We'll just see what happens. I know we got to go out and get some supplies and stuff while we're here, so those videos will be coming. Just give me a little extra time today. All right, folks, have a good one. Is it coming on? Oh, it is. It is the cord. Wow, it definitely was the cord the whole time. I'm just dumb.